Hey, this is Sick Boy Scott Vick, and why don't you give me back my pro wrestling?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
For those who don't know, now you know, baby. This is Hot Rod Biggs, Jared, Jimmy Street. We're going to take them to the limit one more time, baby, right here on Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome one more time to the Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling podcast, and I am here as always with my brother from the same father and mother, the Plastic Sheik, Jared Street. What's up, Sheik? How you doing, bro?
I'm good, brother. Good. Just enjoying a cold day, but to warm things up, I brought some charisma with me.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's the co-host with the mo-host, the territory wrestling guru, and the host of next week's This Month in Wrestling History, Quinton Quarisma. What's up, Q? How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How y'all guys doing?
Doing all
Good.
right.
You good?
Yeah. And you're talking about it's cold. You would think that we have former WCW star Glacier here on the show today because it's so cold.
We need some Harlem heat to warm it up.
Yeah, but we don't have either, guys. So
Neither.
today, I hope y'all took your flu shot because we have one. We have Sick Boy Scott Vick on the show. He's here today. I remember him back in the day from Raven's Flock. You know, he came through the WCW power plant. I'm excited about this one. I am a fan of Sick Boy. I enjoyed his work. And I don't know, man. I liked the Raven's Flock so much back in the day. You know, they reminded me of a band. And so I just gravitated to those guys. So anyway, what do y'all think about this? What do you think, Sheik?
I thought, and I know it's your opinion too, and I know it's a lot of people's opinion, but I thought Raven's Flock was such a great concept, great idea, and unfortunately they ran into the Goldberg buzzsaw.
Yeah,
and I really feel like, unfortunately, they were almost. I can't say that every member of that was one-on-one fed to him, but everybody was fed to him in some way of the Flock. So that then hurts them and takes them down and leaves them at the mid card when, unfortunately, Raven with that Flock is a precursor to like Bray Wyatt's, like Wyatt family, something like that. You know, I mean,
definitely, yeah.
Just kind of sucks that neither one of those angles were ever really well flushed out.
Yeah. What about you, Q? You remember Sick Boy?
What
do you want to say?
Here's my thing. Okay, I'm gonna be different on this one. I was such a Raven mark in ECW. I did not like the Flock in WCW.
I can get that.
Yeah, I understand.
It was good for WCW, but I was, like I said, I was a big Raven mark in ECW. So when it switched over, and I love Stevie Richards, and then when he left, I was like, it just didn't have the same feel to me because I was used to that ECW, but it was good for WCW because they do their twists and lighten everything up their way, so it couldn't have been the same as ECW. But it's just been just watching it and just loving that ECW part. It made me look at it different back then.
Yeah,
but I look at it now. It was great for WCW. For WCW, it was great.
Yeah, right.
It was really good. I mean, it was good stuff for WCW. But like I said, back then I was looking at it through ECW eyes. So,
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, it's like, totally different. I mean,
So you stopped watching when I left, huh? You? Huh? Hey,
yeah, I did, Stevie. Yeah, I did.
You decided to stop watching after a good day.
I've decided. I mentioned it to you all. I've decided who Stevie sounds like to me. Stevie sounds like a cross between Diamond Dallas Page and somebody, and I can't place the other person in there. But he sounds like a cross between Diamond Dallas Page and somebody. And If somebody can figure out the other voice I'm hearing in there.
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. No, I mean, I get it. I just, it was like the timing of everything. And I just felt like they were a cool act. And I mean, you're right, but it's kind of like I almost accept the flock because the Raven's Nest or the Raven's flock from ECW is kind of so different. You know what I mean?
But at the time, have you had seen ECW Raven at that time?
A little bit, but we didn't get to catch a lot of it because it was like 2 or 3 in the morning public access. You know what I mean? So
Jimmy probably seen more than me.
So y'all wasn't deep into it,
right?
So yes, it was. Just, yes, I get it now.
Yeah, because it was like, okay, WCW had the NWO, and yeah, for a teenager, it was kind of getting a little bit like stale before the NWO came in, and then the NWO came in, and then you got this, cool vibe, and then okay, then there's these misfits that came in, kind of like Raven's Flock, and so it kind of I clicked with that, especially at the time in my life and stuff. But yeah, I can, knowing now what I didn't know then, I can totally see why you would feel that way for sure.
Like I said, I just I'm not knocking it. Trust me,
right.
But it's just that, like I said, I was a diehard, I'd set my VCR every week and I'd record that crap and just, big time. And just, like I said, I won't go back now and watch it. Yeah, it was good for WCW. It was good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Well, before we get to him today, we do need to talk a little bit of business on the show here. So obviously, guys, last episode, we had Precious Paul Ellering on the show. He was here to talk about all kinds of cool stuff, but especially Captain's Corner and the Portland Wrestling Expo 2, Saturday, February 21st, Holiday Inn, Portland Airport, 8439 Northeast Columbia Court, Portland, Oregon. Guys, we had the legendary manager of the Road Warriors, Paul Ellering. What'd y'all think about that?
An honor. It's when you first told me, I was just kind of shaking. Like, what? Really? I mean, no, we've had a great run of guests lately, and it's to get me kind of extra like, wow, Paul Ellering. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
We had him for a short time and appreciate every minute we had. But we could have probably talked to Paul for 24 hours if he'd have let us. So
yeah, I mean, there are questions that I'm like, oh man, I wish I would ask him this instead of that. But it's like, well, I mean, I would have loved to have heard what, maybe if he would have really said what they thought about Demolition and Powers of Pain. There's just questions for days. But anyway, what about you, Q?
I enjoyed it. When, like I said, we had Ellering, I was like, wow, because I don't think he does a lot of, I haven't seen a lot of stuff out there on him, like podcasts and shooting interviews. I used to do some, but he ain't, saturated. He wasn't saturated like a lot of the guys from that time period were, when, especially in the 2000s when shoots really got real popular. Yeah. So I don't think there was a lot of stuff out there. So, we could have went on for days because I know you said don't do a lot of questions. We only had for 30 minutes. I just kept going. And I was like, and I might could have wrote probably 50 more at least.
No doubt.
It's just, our time was so limited.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful that he gave us that time, though.
Yeah, definitely. And thank you again, Paul. Thank you again, Nick. Man, I mean, we've heard some awesome people talking to us about this episode. So we greatly appreciate that for sure. One thing I want to talk about real quick, obviously, if you listen to our Ted Arcidi episode, you heard him talking about his, at that time, upcoming episode of a show called The Chair Company. I saw that episode last night, guys. So the Chair Company is essentially a show about a guy. Something happens to him. I don't want to give it away in case you want to watch it, that he decides to go on this, like, basically search for this more information on this chair company, essentially. And something happens to him that makes him want to do that. So he's on this constant chase. It's like a cat and mouse kind of thing through the whole shows so far, but Ted Arcidi shows up last night in an incredible role absolutely hilarious. I don't want to go into it because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but let's just say if you haven't seen that, go watch The Chair Company. It's a show with that guy Tim Robinson in it. I think he's funny. It's very original comedy for sure. He's not like your normal comedy. It's definitely a little weird. I don't know if y'all have seen that meme. I'm sure everyone has seen it, but there's a guy, he's saying like, you sure about that?
You sure about that?
You sure
about that?
You sure about that?
Yeah, if you've ever seen that meme, I've watched some of his other shows, Detroiters and stuff. Funny guy. But anyway, if you like Ted Arcidi and you like comedy and you really want to laugh, I promise, go watch that episode. It was episode 5 of The Chair Company. Very funny stuff. Y'all check that out. Okay, so 2 more pieces of things we got to talk about before we get to Sick Boy today. Of course, it's NWA Saturdays on the Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling YouTube channel. That's going on through February 7th, 2026. Hope y'all are checking those out. Hope you're enjoying them. A lot of cool faces on there. Joe Cephas, Jeremiah Plunkett, Drew Haskins, Team IOU. I saw LBK on there the other day. Just a whole lot of good names and good people on there. So y'all go check those out on the Gimme Back My Pro Wrestling YouTube. And also don't forget about Gideon's Warriors, a night of pro wrestling stories and testimony of God's grace and mercy. We're going to hear from Pastor Rick Reynolds, Shane Morton, Ben Jordan, and Sean Schultz Sunday, January 18th, 2026 at 7 p.m. at His House Ministries, 4909 Highway 43, Summertown, Tennessee. Fellas, that's all the business I have. Do y'all have anything before we get to our guest of the day, Sick Boy?
Nothing from me.
Let's do it.
We'll be right back with more from Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling and Sick Boy after these messages. Gideon's Warriors, a night of pro wrestling stories and testimony of God's grace and mercy. Come hear Pastor Rick Reynolds, who you may know as Damien or Forsaken, Shane Morton, Ben Jordan, and Tommy Phillips, aka Sean Schultz, as they share their experiences in pro wrestling and their personal walks with God. It's all going to be on Sunday, January 18th, 2026 at 7 p.m. at His House Ministries, 4909 Highway 43, Summertown, Tennessee. Everyone is welcome. Do not miss this one-time event.
Hey, this is Pastor Rick Reynolds of His House Ministries in Summertown, Tennessee. I'd like to do a personal invitation to everyone to come see us on January 18th, 2026 at 7 o'clock.
Hey, my name is Tammy Reynolds. I am the wife of Forsaken Rick Reynolds, that super cool guy that everybody knows and loves. And I represent West Side Sauces. I make sauces, I bottle them, I seal them, I sell them. I have a hot honey sauce, I have a sweet sauce, I have a hot sauce, I have a white sauce that's so yummy you can use it on everything. They are absolutely amazing and I'm so proud of them. We make them from scratch. So go on our website, westsidesauces.com, check out our products, read about our story, and go online and order you some of these yummy sauces. And Rick actually uses all of the sauces because he is a die-hard smoker and griller, and so he likes really good sauces and rubs, and I make them, so how convenient is that for him? Go on our website, westsidesauces.com, order you some samples, and I think you'll thoroughly enjoy them. Thank you guys. Be blessed.
All right, we are back with one more episode of the Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling podcast. And guys, like I said in the opening, this is such a cool interview for me. And I saw him on Facebook pop up, and actually this all started with a conversation I had in an interview with Lodi. I said, hey man, where's your dude Sick Boy at? And he's like, oh, he's around, man. And so we talked to him, and Scott, let me just tell you this story, man. Back in the day, my band, we would rehearse on Mondays and Thursdays, and sometimes Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, whatever. But we would get together, and wrestling was kind of a thing that we kind of would stop playing music, and we would watch wrestling. And so we would pick our guys like on the show that, like they not the Stings or the Hogans or the DDPs or Lugers or whatever. We would pick the guys that were like the mid-card guys, the guys that were on the come up. And you were one of my guys. I always bet money on you. It wasn't a lot, but sometimes I would walk away with a 6-pack just because you won or something like that. So anyway, Scott, thank you for coming on the show, brother.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. More than happy to do it. It's great to be on. Great story, by the way. I wish I could have won you more than a 6-pack or something, but I wish I actually could have had some more wins myself.
Well, hey, man, you played a great part, dude. I mean, seriously, I am a fan, man. So it's just an honor to have you on, brother. Thank you for coming on, dude.
Also, no, thank you very much.
Yeah, well, we start every show with the first question from the Plastic Sheik. Take it away, Sheik.
All right, Scott. So if you had to look at wrestling and say, these were guys I either like to work with, that inspired me, that, I just liked watching, whatever it may be. If you had 4 or 5 names of Mount Rushmore of wrestling, who would that be?
Man, that's tough. I know everybody gets that when they get that Mount Rushmore thing. It's tough. I always do it a little different because I put them in different categories.
Yeah, that's
just in terms of like big men, like Bruiser Brody type.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And then I look at the technical part of it, like the Bret Harts, the Mr. Perfects, Owen Hart, those guys, Dean Malenkos. So yeah, it's tough. And then of course, then you get your coup de grace, like your Flairs.
Yeah.
That just cover the whole entire spectrum. I think wrestling is very similar to like entertainment in terms of like, you got your triple threats. Entertainment, I think it's something like sing, dance, act.
Yeah.
And so I think wrestling's like, wrestle, charisma and mic skills. It's hard to have all 3.
Very hard.
But it's so tough because, I grew up obviously an NWA guy.
Yeah.
That's all WWF was hokey to me.
Right.
I respected it. Not as a kid, as I got older.
Sure.
Flair's got to be up there for me.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, definitely.
Flair's got to be up there. I'd have loved to have worked Rick Rude.
Man.
I think Rick's one of the most underrated heels in the business.
No doubt.
I just don't think he got his just. I know it really derailed him breaking his neck in Japan. But I still, even with that body of work he had prior to that, I don't think he gets the credit he deserves.
Yeah.
But he was a great worker.
Yeah.
Great on the mic. Great look.
For sure. Definitely.
I think Bret Hart's got to be in there.
Yeah.
He's a guy could work from Yokozuna to that guy, Tom McGee. I don't know if everybody knows Tom McGee.
Oh yeah. That's a great one. Yeah.
Yeah. If you could, Vince just oozed over Tom McGee, won his look, but then he wrestled Bret and Bret made him look like, $10 million.
Right.
And, that panned out. So I think Bret's got to be there. I'm going to leave so many people out of this, but I think just for being over and the Tom Austin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be on there. What's that? 3? What's that? 4?
Right
there?
Yeah.
You got one more if you want
That's 4. Got one more. Oh man, tough. I got to go with my boy Bruiser.
Yeah.
I was a big Bruiser Brody fan.
Yeah.
I just love the. I didn't get to see a ton of them in the States, and I didn't get to watch a lot of the stuff he did in Japan until I got a little bit older. But I'd study some stuff that he would do, and man, to go out in that crowd and those people move. Whether he was in Puerto Rico or Japan, he goes out there and starts swinging that chain. And let me tell you, bro, they didn't know if, wrestling was real or not. But I guarantee you they thought it was at that time.
I used to call them cockroaches. When he starts swinging that chain, they run like cockroaches.
Oh, it's like you cut the light on and choom. Yeah, that impressed me. Plus his look and his background, his size, and the way he could move. I know a lot of guys, were like, oh, there was that whole he could be difficult to work with and whatnot. And I don't think it was so much with the boys as it was with more promotion stuff.
Yeah, getting paid.
And sometimes the boys got caught up, I think, in the riptide of that.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I love, because I'm sure he was a little snug, although I heard from people that worked with him was just like came off the rope with that high knee and I didn't feel a thing.
Yeah.
But see, I like snug work though.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to be, beat to hell in terms of getting, injured.
Right.
But I love good snug, and I think he's one of those guys. Now I might question working with Stan Hansen, but
Yeah.
but I don't know. You put me the main event in Japan with Stan. I think I'd have to take it.
Yeah. Take that chance.
Maybe some corrective lenses on Stan.
Yeah, just watch my eyeballs. Make sure one of them doesn't get popped
Yeah,
out.
man, golly.
Get the Vader treatment.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that would be it. I think it'd be a Flair, Rude, Bruiser, Austin. I mean, and that, like I said, that's just leaving a lot because I could go on. I mean, I worked some great guys and worked like Booker T. I got to do some house show stuff with, and I wish we could have done something more because it was so much fun to work with Booker.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Benoit, I did one match with him on Nitro, and then we did a bunch of house shows, and I love working Chris.
Yeah.
And it's really a shame that people can't openly, want to put him on their Mount Rushmore because of the terrible things.
Bro, I don't care.
I know, I'm just saying that, but a lot of people won't just because of that.
It is, and I don't care. I'm going to say it because I think there's more to it than that.
Sure.
I think a lot of people close to him, we traveled some, not a lot, but I was around him enough, and I knew enough of them, and that's one of them. I mean, I put 10 other guys' name up there. If somebody said this happened, and you got to pick somebody, he would be one of the last guys I'd pick.
Wow.
That's
okay.
I mean, because he hung out some. I was good friends with Scott Norton, and we lived probably 5-10 minutes from each other in Atlanta. And Chris was a little further south, but Chris would come up every now and then. Chris was very private. He didn't go out a lot off the road. He liked to stay at home, and pretty much same. That's, I think, a big thing that Drew, Scott, and I, in our friendship, we were kind of the same. We loved to homebodies, just sit at home, cook out, chill out, sit at the pool. And Chris came up a few times and was just so nice, so polite. When we're on the road, I know a couple times we went out to eat, and there were other guys who get frustrated with something that was going on in the restaurant, and never Chris. He's always kind of the calm, collected one. I just think there's more of the CTE stuff going on with him than
Right.
I mean, if you read any of those studies and hear from his dad, because Chris Nowinski, I think they did all that research on his brain.
Yeah.
And it was pretty gnarly. I mean, he was like advanced Alzheimer's, like an 80-year-old
man.
So and man, that stuff, dude, that stuff is legit real.
Oh, I've definitely.
Yeah, no, he's one. I mean, like I said, I would have loved to have done something there, but yeah, I mean, my gosh, you could go on Kurt Hennig. There were so many guys I love. I mean, going back to NWA stuff. I mean, Magnum TA and Tully. I love to work Tully. I think that I Quit match in wasn't it Greensboro in the cage?
Yes.
Yeah, I actually went to. My grandparents lived in Lancaster, South Carolina.
Oh, dude.
At the time, and we were up there for Thanksgiving, and I begged my dad because they did the closed circuit at the Charlotte Coliseum.
Yeah.
And that was my first pay-per-view.
Okay.
Man. It was that match. And I remember that match really kind of got me. I never thought as a kid, I was playing sports. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted professional baseball or football. That's where I was at the time.
Yeah.
And, wrestling was just awesome. I love big dudes. Conan the Barbarian is one of my favorite movies.
Oh, dude, totally. Yeah.
That kind of stuff. So I was just enamored with the size of the guys and all the different characters, and it was awesome to me. And but that match was and I think for me that was the big difference between WWF and NWA. NWA looked real to me.
Amen.
Absolutely.
I believed the interviews. I believed the flair and and all the four. I mean, all those guys, almost everybody. There weren't too many guys on there that were bad. Promos,
right.
promo cutters.
Right. Right.
But it was realistic, and you believed them. I mean, I go back and watch it now, and I'll get chills from that, and I'm like, man,
I know, man.
you
I
know,
know.
even the matches.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hey, before we get going more on this, actually, you brought it up there, and I kind of want to pivot off to this real quick. Your high school and college sports days. Talk about that. Obviously, that led you to the SEC or South Carolina. Come on, man. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, that was like you said. I mean, that after the baseball dream started to kind of filter out, I in middle school. I mean, I was just one of the biggest kids in 7th, 8th grade.
Yeah.
And football really started becoming my, at that point, I'm like, I know where my bread's buttered kind of thing.
Right.
And it's what I love the most. I mean, I love baseball. My dad was drafted out of high school by the Detroit Tigers.
Oh, wow. Dude, that's awesome.
Went on to play at East Carolina.
Yeah.
Because my grandparents were like, nah, dude, you're getting an education. And so, I mean, baseball was big. He was a baseball coach. So baseball was like, really big, but I was, and he played football too. And, but football was I loved cracking heads and, I just felt I was more for that. Baseball was a little too slow for me.
Okay.
So that took me down that path. And that was my goal through high school. I was like, I want to be the best high school football player in the state. I mean, that was my goal. And, I did everything I could possibly do, to focus on that except for school, which I should have hindsight because it really impeded my path into college football a bit. But ended up South Carolina and was on that path in that direction when I dislocated my knee would have been going into my junior year. And I tore my ACL, MCL, PCL, and LCL.
Oh my gosh. Got them all, huh?
Well, yeah, my kneecap, a normal dislocation, your kneecap goes to the side. Mine went completely to the back.
Oh, brother.
So when I lifted my leg, my heel was to the sky and my toes were to the ground. My doctor, our orthopedic, because there's been similar injuries or close to them, like, Alex Smith and different guys where you get
Willis McGahee similar. Willis McGahee.
Huh?
You remember the Willis McGahee injury where his his kind of did something like that, didn't it?
Very similar. And then also the Marcus Lattimore one was that's what he did his final one against Tennessee. But if you saw that, his foot was like to the side. Yeah. So I just remember our orthopedic surgeon just coming in after MRIs and doing all this stuff, and he kneeled down, got real close, and he goes, "You're the luckiest son of a bitch I've ever seen in my life." He goes, "How you didn't do more damage with dislocating back?" Like our athletic trainer, Rod Walters at South Carolina, was like, at this time, I think he had like 15 years as an athletic trainer. He'd been at App State and then at Carolina. And he said, I've had and seen every injury. He goes, "This is the first time I've ever seen one of these."
No, man.
I mean, listen, dude, all the black guys on the team turned white.
Oh man, they were gonna
like standing. I mean, guys were standing over me, and I just remember everybody's eyes were big, and I remember all the coaches, and usually coaches are going, saying something smart about getting up and moving, and nobody was saying a word. And I was just like, I was in the most immense pain I'd ever felt in my life.
No doubt.
And they were trying to hold me down, and I remember looking at everybody, and I mean, like I said, all the black guys turned white, and people were just like literally like looking down at my leg and then looking back at me. And it was pretty gnarly until they popped it back in place. And once he did that, that immense pain went away, and now I just had like that dull toothache.
Yeah, the throb.
Whew. Man. Yeah, so that ended the whole football career right there. I never even got really out of my stance in that.
Man.
Yeah.
Daggone.
And honestly, I mean that was all, like, at that point was now that was the real springboard into wrestling.
All right, so I got a question. It's kind of a couple part question here. It's who was your trainer and how did you find that person or persons and what year was it?
Man, I had to go back to high school for that. I was in my sophomore year of high school, and actually Sean O'Hare, who I was in high school with.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, we went to a house show at Savannah Civic Center with WCW, and during intermission, Gary Michael Capetta, the ring announcer, came up to us and introduced himself and said, I'm also a talent scout for WCW. I'm just not ring announcer.
Yeah.
Then he said, I'd love to meet up with you guys. I'm going to be at this hotel tomorrow. Could you meet for lunch? And Sean wanted nothing to do with it. Sean was never an athlete in high school. I think he was a senior, and he had just started getting into like mixed martial arts and bodybuilding and things like that.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm interested. Like I said, I was locked in on the football thing. And I'm like, I'll go see what he has to say. I'm a huge wrestling fan. This would be cool. And so he was basically like, look, you're good size. I mean, my sophomore year, I was probably already 6'2".
Okay.
Like 210.
Yeah.
Wow. And he just was like, when you graduate high school, would you be interested in coming to Atlanta and training to be a professional wrestler? And I was like, nah, man, I go, football's my goal, yada, yada, yada. And he said, well, here's my card. If anything, whenever something changes, if any, call me. So I held on to that card. So once I got hurt, that's when I called, and that jumped me into Atlanta. And as far as a trainer, man, it's tough because I worked with I got trained just basic stuff with Mike Winter and Pez Watley.
Nice.
Okay.
Pez worked with me a lot. Pez took a liking to me.
Okay.
Pez was pretty instrumental. Pez got me in front of Arn Anderson for like my first dart match.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Pez pushed me really, really hard. He thought I could do something. He tried to push some crazy storyline to them about getting me in about being like Sting's brother or cousin or something.
Okay.
Because we kind of had a similar build.
Sure. Okay. I
like
can
a
see
bigger
that.
lower body, big legs.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a little bit of like, they're like, there's a little bit of resemblance, kind of thing. And I was like, hell yeah.
Right.
Yeah, duh. Which of course that's not going to go anywhere. I don't even think I hadn't been wrestling. I maybe had been there like 2 months.
Yeah.
I picked up really, really quick, and that will lead me into the next, to where I started kind of going further. Like I said, I got just the basics between Pez, and then Pez started out with it, and Mike Winter a little bit, and then Dwayne Bruce, Sarge came in.
Okay.
He started with it, and then that's where Chris Kanyon came in and saw me.
Okay. Yeah.
And was like, dude, you're just developing. You're way. I was just, I don't know. It's just easy for me. I just picked things up really, really quick. I could punch, I could kick right out the gate. I think I just had good depth perception and that ability to be able to judge about where I needed to land, or how I needed to fall, or how I needed to take my body and put it in a position. It just like, for instance, my college roommate came with me, and, he was just having a little bit harder time picking it up.
Okay.
And Chris was just like, I want to say, God, it might have been like, I want to say maybe like 3 weeks, because I wasn't with Pez and those guys for long before Chris came in, because he was down there doing the Mortal Kombat stuff with Glacier.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
So it was Glacier and Billy Kidman down there, and Ray Lloyd Glacier.
Yeah.
Because they were all tight friends.
Okay.
Kidman and Billy were. And yeah, Chris just kind of took me under his wing, and he saw I could do all the basic stuff, and he felt like, dude, they're just going to hold you back down there. I'm like, well, is it going to be cool, with everybody? I don't want to. And he's like, yeah, don't worry about it. And of course, then I started to know he was tight with Paige, with DDP.
Yeah.
And so, it was pretty much from that point on, I got like just that basic, and then me and Chris would just go do matches down there. We'd just do like 30 minutes and just work and call it in the ring.
Okay.
And that's basically how I was trained.
Yeah. So what would you consider your first actual match, and who was it against?
I did I think I did a high school with Luther Biggs.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
Yeah, he did that coach thing with Ray Lloyd.
yeah, yeah.
I think he actually might have been the original Big Sexy too.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. That
Because I
sounds
think
right.
before Nash came in, he did a show with tights that said Big Sexy. 'Cause I think he did like an enhancement job down at MGM Studios, and I think this was before Outsiders came in and hit, and he had trunks, I think, that said Big Sexy.
That's
Yes, I think he might have been, Nash might dispute it. I don't know, but
right.
yeah, he might have been the original Big Sexy. But it was with Luther at like I want to say like White, Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah, some high school gym. I think that was my first match.
What name did you go by?
I couldn't even tell you.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. No worries.
Probably Scott Vick.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I don't think it matters,
Right. Yeah,
at that time. And then he had here, I'll tell you this too, because it's a little bit of a tie into infamous wrestling or notorious wrestlers. When Pez pushed me to Arn about a dart match, Arn Pez took me down to Columbus, Georgia, introduced me to Arn, and just put me over huge to him. And Arn was like, "All right, have a dart match. We're going to next TV tape, and we're going to be in Birmingham." And so they had it set up for me to work Hardbody Harrison.
Oh yeah.
If y'all are familiar with him,
We are. Yep.
okay. So I was like, I went to Jody Hamilton, who was at the power plant, and I was like, Jody, look. Any way I can get this changed from Hardbody to like Luther. I knew Luther. I was friends with Luther. We hung out outside of training and wrestling, and so we had worked together. He was a good worker, smooth worker, and I was like, I need to shine because this was my match. This wasn't Hardbody's match. It wasn't Luther's match. It was my match.
Right.
They were specifically looking at me. So I was like, I want to look good, and Hardbody was just could be a little difficult to work with.
Yeah.
I mean, just in terms of just being, it was a little stiff in the ring.
Okay.
Sure. And I don't mean stiff and like stiff, and you just
right.
A little hard to move.
Yeah.
It was, and Luther was just like butter, and he knew everything I did and knew everything I did well. And I was like, so I pushed to get and they thank God they put the original Big Sexy in there with me.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so that was my first two matches.
Okay.
That I had, and then I think that was pretty much it before I started TV.
Okay.
So I only had 2 matches in front of a live crowd before I started TV.
That's it. I don't know if that's good or bad, man, but I mean, hey, it says something, right? Come on.
Yeah, it was good in the sense that I could work and they knew it.
Right.
And I mean, my stuff was solid. I didn't have bad matches. Obviously, I mean, they put me in the slot without having any experience whatsoever.
Yeah.
And the bad is I'm still green.
Yeah. Right.
There's a lot of stuff I now this is, hindsight, but later on down the road, I'm still trying to figure out. And I mean, my gosh, even, way later down the road, I still am learning. And I'm like, I wish I would have known a lot of different things, during that time. Yeah. And I think that's one of the unfortunate things about getting pushed so quickly. And a lot of guys that's happened to, I think Van Hammer was one of those guys.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, the dude was unbelievable look, man. I mean, God,
right.
When he came out as debuted, I mean, he looked phenomenal.
Right. But there was no meat on the bone yet. There was no meat on the bone with him yet. There's nothing it was just, hey, this rocking dude coming out with a guitar and tell me more. What's up with this guy? Why is he, why is he here? And
yeah, I mean, he just had a phenomenal look and he was still really raw in the ring. You could see it.
Yeah.
But just looked phenomenal. And I just don't think that does anybody any justice. I know it didn't do me, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, but I mean, I was right off the bat a lot I think I was a little more advanced work-wise than what he was when he debuted, because we're very similar in how we debuted. Now, I didn't get pushed like him.
Right.
But in terms of just kind of getting thrown out there, it was kind of like I just got thrown to the wolves. I mean, I didn't know anything. I was learning. I mean, I didn't even know proper etiquette all the way around, how you talk to the boys, what can be taken as an insult. I didn't know shaking hands. I just go shake your hand. I'm not one of those guys that's going to try to break your knuckles, but I'm going to put a firm handshake on you.
Right.
And nobody was smarting me up. And I didn't know later. I think one time I met Ricky Morton and shook his hand and goes, "Oh my God, you'd kill me in the ring."
He's stiff. He's so stiff. Oh my Lord.
And I'm like, dude, that's got because I think, I mean, unless I've just, miscalculated and tatered somebody and everybody's done it.
Right.
I think I could look pretty vicious and my stuff was pretty light. You didn't feel a lot of my stuff. Now I'm going to lay it in on your back and things like that, with my forearm, but my punches and kicks looked pretty stiff, but they were pretty light and nobody ever complained to me. But yeah, I'm just like, I don't know, dude, I'm going to shake your hand.
Right.
I'm not doing the little, barely handshake thing, but nobody smartened me up to it.
Right. So
nobody, the only thing I really knew was, hey, just say hey to everybody. Say hey to all the boys.
Go shake their hands.
Introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself to all the boys. That's pretty much all I knew. And there are many more. It's like a daggum pirate's code or something.
Yes.
It's gone away. The handshake's gone away. They got rid of it.
Oh, has it?
Yeah. I don't know why.
I think that probably Carney's gone away too. I don't think they taught that anymore either.
No, they don't.
They don't talk it, but they still live it.
Taught me that.
Who taught you that?
I said they at least taught me that. How to talk Carney.
That's awesome.
I think it's like this is like for educated people. That means when they stop doing handwriting in school or like cursive.
Yeah.
And they only do like print, or they don't even own anything they write anymore. They do everything on tablets.
Probably. Yeah.
But
all right, I got a question. Who came up with the name Lance Ringo?
Combination between Paige and myself. Paige wanted to do Johnny Ringo because he thought that was a well-known Western cowboy from the Wyatt Earp era, which I knew who he was. I'm a big history buff.
Mm-hmm.
And, his theory was, bro, everybody's going to know that, you wanted like a recognizable name. And I'm like thinking in my head, like, well, this is like my debut.
Yeah.
At least that's what I thought at the time, because I had no idea I was debuting until the night before.
Oh.
Like I had no name, obviously, because I didn't come up with that name. I had thankfully had just had trunks made.
Mm.
I had no wrestling boots, so I had to wear amateur. I wore the boots I worked out in the ring with.
Mm.
And I wore like amateur style boots.
Oh.
Or like wrestling shoes. Yeah, and I got called up. I was out to dinner on a Sunday night, and it was me, Chris Kanyon, a few other people, and Paige called, and Chris, and he hands me the phone. It's Paige, and he's like, "Bro, you're wrestling me tomorrow, and wherever it was, Virginia somewhere." And so this is 9:00 on a Sunday night, and I'm like freaking. I don't know why I didn't ask Chris to like borrow his wrestling boots, because I had done that before. I'd borrowed wrestling boots for I think that dart match that I had.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why. I think it was just so fast. I think my head was swimming. So yeah, that name came up from Paige.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm not digging the Johnny thing. And I was like and we were going back and forth, and we went through a couple things, and finally it kind of was like Lance, and I was just like, okay, whatever. Cause Paige can be pretty persuasive. So, and at this point I was just like, I don't really care. I'm going to be on Nitro.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So after you started doing the dark matches, did they send you to the power plant full time, or what actually happened with that?
I was at the power plant full time prior to that. Like I said, when I called that number that I had that card from Michael Capetta.
Yeah.
They said that Michael wasn't with the company anymore, but I should come to Atlanta anyways.
Right.
And they said, I'm just rehabbed and healed up from this injury, gave football another shot, and was like, finally, like, Nitro had just, it wasn't long after the Nitro debuted, and you know how hot that was when it came out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I was really like sitting there getting the bug, and me and my roommate were sitting there who played with me at Carolina, and we were like really looking at this, and I started, because I'd really questioned my future now in football, and I was just like, I had worked out for some NFL teams, and things weren't, I just didn't think anything was going to go anywhere with this, and that's when the bug really set in, and I go, well, I got this guy's card, and he was really interested in it too, so. Called and they said, come up anyways. Well, we came up, I think it was right in the summer of 96. The Olympics were there in Atlanta, and they had moved the entire office to Orlando for the summer to get away from the Olympics. And they put me through, like they said, well, Michael had interest in you. We want to take a look, see if I could move around, just some basic stuff. Hitting the ropes and doing some exercise. I can't remember the stuff that we did. And they were kind of sitting there like, well, we've got I did the whole, that's when they told me about the power plant, the workout and stuff. So they were like, yeah, you need to go through the workout. And we did that, which was the most brutal 3 days of my entire life ever. I mean, I don't think you could pay me to do it now. I don't know, my body would shatter if I did it. It was horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, when guys talk about just, they took aspects of stuff that they did in a lot of different places, especially like, because I think a lot of places, a lot of guys train kind of like, and especially if they were trained like dojos in Japan and stuff. And they took aspects of that, and I'm not comparing it to a dojo in Japan because it's way worse there. But there were aspects of it. I mean, 1,000 air squats, 1,000 push-ups, going out and sprinting. I mean, that's all we did. I'm talking about for an hour. It was squat. I mean, we'd start out with, I think we did it on a Wednesday. So it was like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And we started on Wednesday, and there were 15, 20 guys, whatever. And I'm not joking. Within 20 minutes, there was like 5.
Jeez.
Because it was just squat the entire time. And you get these big old jacked up bodybuilding guys in there, and they were the first ones to tap out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, it was brutal. And and at the end of this was the end of the first day, because the first part of it is just, like I said, it's just, I mean, my gosh, it's air squats all morning for like a couple hours, running, push-ups, doing crunches, doing leg lifts off the edge of the ring. And then the second half of the day, you'd still do air squats and all that, but then they get you in the ring and they just teach you, running in place and taking a back bump, like some of the basic stuff.
How many times did you puke?
I actually didn't, not once.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah, it not once. It was brutal, but I was able to, get through it. My roommate got through it. I think we had like 2 other guys. Horseshoe, he went on to be Horseshoe, Matt Weesey.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He went to be Horseshoe, and then Luther Reigns. He was in that group. He was in that group, or he came like the next week and did it. I'm not sure. I think he might have been in our group that we were doing, and because that's how we met. And of course, I guess it's kind of like this very, very simplistic version of the military. In those 3 days, you form a bond with those guys.
Yeah.
That especially when you're the last one standing, and out of 20-something people, there's like 4 of you left.
Wow.
In one day. I mean, the rest of the workout, it was myself, my roommate, Matt Weesey, and then Dave. We called him Webhead because he had short curly hair that looked like spider webs all over his head. And he was Matt's roommate, and we were the only ones left. So yeah, went through that power plant, and still sitting there looking at a contract, and nobody was there because only Pez and Mike Winter were there running it. Sarge was down in Florida for the whole time, except he came back the very last day and threw me out, grabbed me by the back of the neck, and took me out the front door and threw me out.
Dang.
All right, you got to tell us why. Tell us the story of how that about that.
Yeah. I never met him before, and I had only that end of that last day. I had, like I said, I was wearing amateur wrestling shoes, and I took a bump, and instead of hitting flat foot, I hit with my heel, and I got a bone bruise on my heel.
Yep.
And I don't know if you've had one of those, but those jokers are pretty painful. Like you can't put weight on it. So I felt like I just had like this. You feel like you got like a nail or a railroad tie in the heel of your foot. And so for the second half of that day, I'm doing everything on one leg. The next 2 days, Thursday, Friday, I'm going through it, but I'm literally on one leg. And I'm just pushing through. I'm going through it. They all see that. Everybody knows I got legit, type of injury type thing. Well, Sarge didn't know that. And he came back on that Sunday, that Friday, that towards the end of the day, we're doing these things called gauntlets that they would have us do where they had 3 rings and you would slide in, hit the rope, cut a flip, back bump, slide out, and you'd go through all 3 rings like that. And you just do it for like, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And so Sarge comes in and I'm sitting there just gimping along and he thought I was like half-assing, couldn't, put up. And Sarge is pretty short-tempered anyways, and he's an old school guy. And, he's very much like in that mindset of, you think anybody thinks they can come in and do this business and, kind of a mindset, and just saw me gimping. And I remember I just finished the last ring, and I was walking up. He came in. He was all red in the face, and like smoke was coming out of his ears, and was just screaming and cursing at me, and grabbed me by the back of the neck. And he goes, "You want to slack off in my ring, and in my house or something like that?" And grabbed me, took me out the front, took me through a couple doors, not like literally through doors, but we went through them aggressively, right out to the front, and threw me out. And I just hit and roll. And I remember sitting there going like, well, I guess that's it for me. Like, it's over. And then Pez came out and said, "Hey man, come here, get up." And he took me into a little place where we had like the locker room, and they had like a massage or stretch table type thing in there, and said, "Sit right here, dude." And he goes, you're fine. You're fine. Just relax. And then Sarge came in not long after that, and he put his hand out and said, "I just want to apologize." And he said, "I'm sorry." He goes, "I had no idea. They told me you injured yourself on the first day, and you've been going through this on one leg for 2.5 days. Wow. And then that formed a good friendship from that point on.
Wow.
That's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
very cool.
That was that. Yeah. So that was the training at the power plant. And then it took actually Matt Weesey and myself going to a WWF show to actually get them to do a contract.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. They had been just dragging their feet. And I had moved in with Matt because Webhead had fallen in love with a stripper. And he had moved out with her, and then my buddy who we were rooming, he had some stuff going on personal in his life, and he was just kind of getting distracted on the wrestling thing, and he kind of went and had to take care of his business. So I went in with Matt. Well, Matt was friends with Jack Doan,
okay.
referee in WWF.
Yeah.
And Matt was like, "Dude, I haven't seen Jack in a while. You want to roll down to Daytona? They got a show there. Let's go see him." I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." So we roll down to Daytona, and we're sitting there in the back, and Vince comes up to us and started asking questions, and he's like, "Yeah, we're friends with Jack. Well, Matt's friends with Jack, and we're here to see Jack." And he goes, "You guys workers?" And like, "Yeah, he goes, "Where are you at?" And we're like, "Oh, we're training at the power plant right now." And he's like, "You under contract?" And I was like, no, because like I said, they just kind of been dragging their feet. I don't know where Matt was at with it, but they were dragging their feet with me. They kept saying they wanted to do one, but it was that whole summer. Like I said, they had been gone, and I don't think they got back until like August, September. And I think this was now like December. And Yeah, because this was like, I think the 1st of December, somewhere in there. And I was starting to get kind of frustrated with it. And so Vince goes, well, he said, I want to see a match. I want to see some video on you guys. So we were like super, stoked and excited. And we actually came back to Atlanta. I told Chris. And so we set up a daggum tripod camera right there in the freaking power plant. And we filmed me and Matt working a match. So we filmed us at the power plant, sent it to Vince.
Wow.
Yeah. So we sent it to Vince, and I want to say within a week we were up in New York, and we didn't meet with Vince. We met with Bruce Pritchard.
Okay.
And basically just kind of took us around Titan Towers, got to work out, have lunch. Then we went over to the studios, the TV studios, where they had a ring set up in there, and they wanted us to work. And Bruce did, because I think it was just Bruce, if my memory serves me correct.
Mm-hmm.
And we just did a little impromptu match. And he goes, "Hey, listen, man, we want to sign you guys." He goes, what we can offer you, it was I want to say it was like 50, 60 grand, but they would pay for everything, all of our living expenses. And they were like, because they didn't have OVW, and I don't think Memphis was even set up at that time, because they were doing MCW, Memphis Championship Wrestling, is kind of like farm,
Yeah.
kind of what OVW was.
Right.
And because they said, you'll be training here at the TV studios. We'd be living in Stanford. They would cover our rent, all of our expenses like that. And me and Matt were like, this is absolutely, like, we just felt like this is where both of us felt like on the plane ride back, and like, this is where we need to be. And I said, the only thing I need to do, I said, I do need to go to Paige, because I've become friends with Paige and become part of that crew.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, just good business, and told Paige to do. And he said, well, look, don't sign anything. I think this was like on a Friday. I think we flew up on a Friday, and on Saturday reached out to Chris, and he got in touch with Paige, and Paige said, don't do anything. Let me talk to Eric. And so it was ironic, kind of, because where it all started for me, with Michael Capetta at Savannah Civic Center. They were having a nitro there, and that's where Eric wanted us to come down and meet him. And so Eric came down. Matt and I came down, and we met with Eric and explained everything to him. And he said, well, he goes, I figure Vince is going to offer you this much. He goes, I'll offer you 75. And we're like, awesome. And he said, look, no hard feelings, whatever you want to do, you handle yourselves professionally. If you decide to go with them, no worries whatsoever. But just know this offer is only good until Wednesday. On Wednesday, I'm pulling it off the table.
Wow.
So we were like, okay, awesome, great. So we went back to the hotel room, and we were still WWF. It wasn't the money. We just felt in our gut like that was where we needed to be.
Okay.
And we would have gone there, but for whatever reason, on Tuesday we called Bruce, because we had yet to receive any contracts, because Bruce had said they will FedEx those on like Monday, because this was, Friday we left. I think we flew out of Stanford or finished with Bruce. It was like 7, 8 o'clock at night. And so he said, we'll FedEx contracts to you. They should be there Monday, Tuesday. So on Tuesday, we called and told him, what had happened. And just said, look, we have yet to receive your contracts in light of what WCW has offered. We want to sign, with you guys, but we don't have these contracts, and these contracts for WCW are off the table on Wednesday. If we haven't gotten these by like noon, 1 o'clock, and I can't remember I don't know what Eric's deadline was. I can't remember. And in terms of when that expired on Wednesday, I think it was like at the end of the business day, like, 5, 6 o'clock, something like that. And so we said, if we haven't gotten these by this, we have to sign this because, listen, as we can't trust your contracts are going to get there.
Right.
Or I don't even know if he had, honestly, me and Matt in private were just going, shit, they could have just been bullshitting us.
Yep.
I don't know. We don't have a contract. We got contracts on the table right here in our hand. We can sign with WCW. And that's what eventually led me to signing with WCW with both of us.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's a great story. I like that.
Yeah.
You're listening to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Captain's Corner is bracing for a big close to 2025 featuring Glory Days GrappleCon 3 on Saturday, October 25th. Glory Days GrappleCon 3 invades the Hilton Garden Inn in beautiful Lutz, Florida, featuring the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, Abdul the Butcher, Barry Windham, Dory Funk Jr., and many more. This will be one of the biggest assemblance of legends to ever hit the Gulf Coast. Then, as the year closes, we focus on the Portland Wrestling Expo 2. Returning to the Holiday Inn Portland Airport on February 21st, PWE 2 will feature Ken Patera, The Grappler, Gorgeous Joey Jackson, Scott Norton, and over a dozen other stars of the past, present, and future of the Pacific Northwest. Make sure to head on over to Captain's Corner on Facebook and Instagram for full details on both those shows and all of our other signings. Cheers to the working man.
Okay, so obviously you're signing with WCW, and at this time, I understood the counterculture, some of the alternative music and kind of independent films going on at the time. And at the time, there was a movie called Trainspotting, and I think I've heard this story, but you can confirm it. Is that where your name came from, Sick Boy?
It's exactly where it came from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was some kind of deal where Raven made you all watch it or something. Keep going. I'll shut up.
No, you're fine. Yeah, it was basically just like that. I mean, I had just gotten the green light for the flop.
Okay.
To be a part of it.
Yeah.
And again, I gotta give all that credit to Chris Kanyon because he really pushed me. Chris, like Pez, really believed in me.
Yeah.
Chris and I became really, really good friends. We lived in the same. We had a condo. He was just on the floor above me in Atlanta, and we became like really, really good friends. He was in my wedding.
That's awesome.
We were really tight, and he just really believed in my ability. And he instantly was just like, Raven's looking for new guys, and you're like the perfect guy. He really put me over to him. Was like, there's this green kid. He's super green. He hasn't done anything, but the kid can work his ass off. He's big. He can do high fly. He can do, high flying moves. Do like cruiserweight type stuff. He can do the smash and bash stuff. Mm-hmm. You might want to check him out. I mean, that's pretty much how he promoted me to him or pitched me to him. And Raven immediately was like, came down as far to the power plant and checked me out, and immediately it was like I not immediately, because it was like I think he obviously had to go through the proper channels, up the ladder to get the final okay or whatever. So it was like a couple weeks before I got the news, and then once we did that, it wasn't long where because now it started to form, because at this point I can't remember if Stevie was still a part of that or not.
He was, just for a little bit.
I think he was right at the beginning, and then he left not long because at the time I want to say it was obviously Raven, Saturn, myself, and Kidman.
Right.
We were like me and Kidman, I think, besides were the add-ons. Saturn was already in. Right. Yeah. Because I know when we went to like MGM Studios, it was just us there. Obviously, Riggs hadn't come in yet. Reese hadn't come in. Obviously, Hammer and Horace hadn't come in yet, or Lodi. So yeah, it was just us, and we met up actually at Kanyon's place, and he threw in the movie Trainspotting just to do some research. just for the gimmick. It
Sure.
was like, this is kind of what we're going for. Not necessarily we don't want to be drug addicts, but it's like just that all,
Right.
alternative grunge rock, kind of misfits, outcasts of society kind of thing. That's really what I remember him pitching and what we were looking at, and that's where we were sitting there. And nothing had really been said to me about, hey, come up with a name, or we just knew I didn't have a name. I just remember watching it, and we're sitting there, and it was all of a sudden Ray just goes, "Yeah, Sick Boy. That's a perfect name for you, Scotty. You're Sick Boy." And so, yeah, I was Sick Boy
There you
from
go.
that night on.
And Scott Vick's a pretty rad name, man. You got the one right off the rip. You were born with a good name, but and I could see on any given day they would just say, "Hey, Scott Vick, that's a good name." But Sick Boy, Raven, of course, perfect for that. So,
Yeah.
So how did you feel when they told you were going to be in the flock?
Oh man, I thought, I was like, this is a great platform for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great springboard. Obviously, I mean, my gosh, I was, 24,
Okay.
somewhere in there, I think. I think it was like 24, 25.
Yeah. Golly.
Yeah.
That's
Maybe
awesome.
even young, maybe 20, I might have been 23, 24. So it was a huge opportunity. And I kind of heard what the deal was with Rave and some of the stuff, like right out the gate, what we're going to be involved in. And I was like, this is pretty big. Now, I was a realist in terms of, I know this isn't about me, this is about Raven.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that,
Right. Right.
Nope. But I knew that right out of the gate, and just meeting him and being around it and being around him and hearing some of this direction we were going to be going in. But I knew right out the gate we were going to have some pretty big feuds.
Yeah. Right.
And I mean, I had no idea we were going to do every TV, every pay-per-view, and a ton of house shows. Because literally, I mean, we pretty much did every TV.
Yeah.
I mean, we were on and on just about every pay-per-view. There were a couple times, but very seldom, because even if we didn't work, we would show up and sit ringside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I thought it was a great opportunity. I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
Obviously, nothing had really been said in terms of the direction of ultimately where it was going, what was going on. We kind of had a little bit of an idea, but not much. So, yeah, I thought at the time, this is perfect. I mean, you can't ask for anything better. Like I said, as it started getting a little bit closer to, because the first shows I did, everything was at MGM, so they were all like pre-tapes. For like a week before I actually showed up. I think it was in Tampa where I actually showed up for the first time on live TV with the flock. And then I think it was then or right after that I found out, like, it was like, dude, we're going to be at every TV, every Nitro, even if we're not working, we're going to be out here. And then the worst ever with that was when we had to work and you're sitting out there ringside.
Sweating. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and you're sitting there, you can't stretch.
Oh man. Yeah.
You can't get warmed up.
Oh.
And I don't know. I'm like, I get the whole look, but I'm like, if we're not working, fine sitting out there, and that's where we really started to gripe.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I'm gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
Because it was, I mean, and especially for me, because I started sitting in the floor.
Right. I remember that. Yeah.
Because I would sit because I was told if I didn't come up with something, actually it was that first Nitro I was at in Tampa, I was pulled up into the nether regions of the rafters of the arena, like where Sting would be, by Page and Bischoff. And I'm like, what am I getting summons up here for? And basically, literally I was told in my face, you need to come up and do something different than what everybody else is doing instead of just sitting in a chair, because just as fast as you were put in this, you can be fired.
Ooh, dang.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm going, well, what the hell are y'all picking on me for? Everybody's sitting in a freaking chair.
Right.
Like, nobody said anything like, hey, you need to be this. Perry's going to be this. Richards is, Stevie's going to be this. Kidman is this. I mean, Kidman had his itching thing.
Right.
But everybody was just sitting in chairs, and Raven and Perry sat there and looked like they were zombies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kidman did the itch, and Stevie was just what Lodi ended up becoming.
Yeah.
Or very similar. I shouldn't say that, but very similar. And I mean that in terms of like hype guy, like the quirky,
right.
Strange guy. And of course, Lodi had his awesome niche with the signs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I'm sitting there, I'm like, why am I getting like ostracized in this thing? And, so that's when I started thinking, I was like, I think that, during that day I said, all right, I need to do something different. So I was just like, well, I'm going to sit on the floor.
Yeah.
And that was great because that thing was freezing because it was on, I think, Tampa Bay Lightning, that hockey rink.
Okay.
So you could feel the cold coming up underneath that.
Nice.
Now, luckily, I didn't have to work that night, but at least that night I did the whole thing with the hanging my legs out over the, the rail, the guardrail there, and just kind of with my arms like I was in jail or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so that was the night I was kind of like, okay, this is how I can make this character different. And, I can add this, like I hear voices kind of thing. That's why a lot of times when I was sitting there thinking that night, like I need to do more. So like maybe, when I have matches, I can come out and, I'd like just spin around, look up to the ceiling, like I'm hearing somebody's talking to me kind of thing.
Yes, I've seen you do that. Yeah, I well, that actually ties into this question, if you don't mind. I always noticed, and like I said, man, I am a fan of you. I watched your matches. I always noticed, like at the end of matches, like let's say Kidman won a match or lost a match, or Saturn won a match or lost. It really didn't matter. Raven would come in the ring and pick on like one of you guys, like Stevie a lot. Hey, Raven, leave me alone, buddy. Or Lodi or Kidman, he would like throw you guys around. I noticed that he never hit you. Now, was it because he liked you, or did you know how to get out of the way?
I don't know, man. I think first you might have to ask Ray that question.
Okay.
He might be the only one with the answer to that. I don't know. I think there was a part of, I was like, I'm just going to go with whatever the flow is. I don't think I consciously in my mind was like, I'm going to get out of the way of this.
Sure.
I don't know why he didn't go there. With me, I really don't know, but I just, I know, it's not like, I don't know. There's just no straight answer on that or
I figured it was just you were maneuvering your way away from it, maybe.
I never, honestly, I never even thought about it.
Okay. Yeah.
You didn't want to go too far from him because the camera was always on.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah, and that was part of the deal. He was supposed to like mistreat us to a certain degree, but we still follow him.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know why he went that direction.
Well, you never know, right? We'll ask Raven when he comes on, hopefully one day. So, So one question I gotta ask you, and it's a famous photo, man. So tell us the backstory on that photo with you and Wade Boggs and the Flock.
Man, I can't even remember where that was at. That was one of those fuzzy nights.
Okay, fuzzy, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think we were. I don't think we were working that night. And I don't even remember how he came up, honestly, I knew he was in the back because he was friends with, somebody in the business.
Okay. Yeah, I think Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig.
Yeah, yes, right. Yeah, he and Kurt were good friends.
Yeah.
And I wish I could remember what the reasoning, how we met, how we introduced, that I couldn't even tell you.
Yeah.
I just know I was like taping my wrist because I had like a thing of tape dangling from my wrist from that because we were kind of sitting there and they're like, hey, this is Wade Boggs and met him. Yeah, I think it was like happenstance.
Okay.
Kind of thing. And he was in the back and met us and we were right there and somebody snapped a picture of it.
Yeah.
I remember him being super cool. Like you would never, I met a ton of people and some guys were just like, kind of snobby dicks. And he was just one of those that was like really super cool, not pretentious at all. Almost like I'm in your world and I'm giving you respect.
Mm. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you and Kidman, had some tag team matches with teams like High Voltage and Public Enemy. Can you tell us some of your memories about those matches?
Yeah. We did High Voltage a good bit on. We did quite a few house shows of High Voltage. And I always liked tagging with Billy because like I said, we trained a lot together at the power plant. So it's like, we would give each other moves or give suggestions to each other about things to do. And in terms there was stuff I was like, I wasn't going to do. Like I gave him, he used this, I think, a good bit in a lot of his matches where I was like, everybody's doing the up and over, shoot the guy into the turnbuckle. They come charge it in, you do the up and over, they run under, hit the turnbuckle.
Yeah.
And I said, well, why don't you modify that, man, and like do a deal where they hit the turnbuckle, stagger out, you hook your ankles behind his head, flip and turn and do like the Hurricane Rana kind of flip off of it. Same thing, like, if you do the old, Olay where they go to bat flip you and you counter it in the air and land on the outside on the apron, give them a shot, then you can spring up, twist, turn, hook. I said, I thought of that stuff for me, and I was just like, I'm not going to do that. Like,
Right.
That's just not
right.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't know. I think this would be better for Kidman and like honestly, like a shorter person, to be honest.
Makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, I was kind of like being, well, maybe if I get lazy or blown up or something, I might not tuck as much as I need to, and I don't need to face plant, because it really depend on the guy I was working with. I mean, if he's 6 foot or taller, okay, yeah, I don't have to tuck as much. So I was just like, I don't know. I just didn't feel it was like a move for me. So, like I would throw him that spot. And I think he used it quite a few times in matches. And so we just kind of had a connection like that. Billy had a good mind for the business. And like I said, I was really green, and especially tag team. Tag teaming is a whole nother animal than singles.
Right.
Yep.
No doubt.
The psychology is completely different. I mean, psychology can be tough enough in singles. Tag's a whole nother animal. And
yes,
so Billy had a good mind and all that, just not tag team, but singles as well. And, we had come up with some really good spots, and, and I love doing the house shows because you could be a lot different on the house shows than you could on TV.
Yeah.
We would do a bunch of different stuff on the house shows. I think we did a spot with High Voltage a lot that was super cool, where we kind of built it where I think I would press one of High Voltage like over my head, and I would throw him to the other guy, and then I'd turn around and start gloating. Oh, I'm sorry, no, I'd pick up Kidman. I'm messing this up. I would pick up Kidman, press him over my head after we had bumped one of High Voltage, Kenny or Rob, I can't remember which one. We bumped one. I think it was always Kenny did this spot. I would be having some heat on Kenny and bumping him around and tagging Kidman, and Kidman would run, and I'd press him over my head, and I didn't know, but Kenny had maybe, I think, tagged Rob, and I'd turn and throw, and Rob would catch Kidman, and then I'd turn to the ropes and like gloat, and to the crowd, and when I turn around, he would throw Kidman on me.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've seen it before.
Yeah, so I think that was one we like a little spot we would do a lot. We'd do like the old Memphis spot where we'd maybe chase each other around the ring, and then like if you had a heat on somebody and somebody distract them, and I was the guy that had been in the ring, and they were chasing Kidman, I would crawl in and then fall like I was out, and they would both run over me, and then Robbie or Kenny would stop on the ropes, and Kidman was obviously had gotten out and distracted him, and then I'd come up and glom him from behind.
Oh yeah.
Which, I mean, you could have done that stuff on TV too, but it just, I don't know, the house shows were so much more lax. Yep. You just didn't have the pressure, and you could do a bunch of stuff, and we tried to work those cool little spots in there, and so those were good. And Public Enemy, I don't know if Kevin and I worked with Public Enemy. I know Riggs and I did. Rave and I worked Public Enemy.
Yeah.
I think we did house shows, Kidman. But on TV, I think it was Riggs and Rave I did tag matches with, and I think with Riggs we did that Philly street fight deal with him in there, which was one of my favorite matches that I've done. Because we didn't talk about anything except the finish, obviously, and we just went in and just called it all in the ring.
Awesome.
And I mean, they gave us I think we had 8-10 minutes in that match, which was pretty good for
that's a lot
SmackDown
for TV
at the time, huh?
That's a lot for TV time.
Yeah, they gave us that time, and I mean, we had a wheelbarrow out there, we had trash can, we had tongs, there was all kinds of junk, kendo stick, and but it ended up just being a really good match. It's almost like what I remember, as a kid when I'd goof around, me and my buddies, and we would, be Road Warriors versus Midnight Express.
Yeah.
And just doing it off the cuff,
Yep.
One guy, one team gets the advantage over the other, and it's just, and then you're just flopping back and forth. And yeah, that match was one of my favorite matches.
Very cool. Very cool.
All right. So, after you had your little run there, why did you leave WCW?
Because it was the Titanic, and I saw that big ass iceberg coming.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it wasn't that. The only thing, man, it was Megadeth playing the violins and stuff, not the slow shit they were playing in the movie, because that shit was coming on quick, and I just saw it sinking. NWO, when they fractured off and started doing the Wolf Pack.
Yeah.
And then they started doing Latino World Order, and it just started getting, to me, really watered down. And I saw that. And then, of course, when the flock split, everything they told me, WCW was just so disorganized.
Yeah.
It was great at the time. That time when we were rolling and we were in those the Monday Night Wars. It was just, we were so over, it was unbelievable. Nothing really mattered.
Right.
But when that kind of started to fizzle a little bit, and that's when the NWO kind of started fizzling, in my opinion. And that's when they, did the split with the flock, which was fine. I thought it was a little premature. But that was fine. But I kind of started really getting disgruntled then and kind of seeing it right there. And I was like, this ship's going to be sinking, man. I just had this feeling, and I didn't like the way things they were doing with me. They were like, you're going to be off 90 days. And, they gave me no direction other than, you got any character ideas you want to do for yourself? Which, listen, they were so ridiculous. I remember the stuff with Goldberg, because I worked Bill a lot, and Bill and I were, we were friends, and I remember telling him one time, and of course we had a little connection because he played at Georgia. I was at South Carolina now at different times. But I remember telling him that I said, look, man, at some point they need to kill you. I mean, not kill him literally.
Right. No, right. Yeah.
You're going so high. The only place you're going to have is to fall off afterwards.
Yeah.
And I said, they need somebody and I'm not saying this because I was friends with him, but I don't know really, honestly, at that time, who else really could have done it, but a Scott Norton to kill him.
Right. Right.
And if Scott could have, and I think Scott could have still pulled that off. I'm sitting here remembering, in my head, I was remembering Scott, in Japan, how fierce he was.
Oh, damn.
And he was still fierce in WCW. He had I think Scott was 42 at the time. And I mean, he could still go, and he was still super aggressive, and his stuff looked solid, but they needed somebody, whether it was the Giant, but they had watered the Giant down so much.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Mr. Perfect giving him the perfect plex. And I don't know, in my opinion, you just don't do that to a guy that size.
Right.
No.
Not unless you're going to make Mr. Perfect beat Haku in a real fight, and he's going to be the world champion.
Right.
So I was like, I told Bill, and I think I told somebody else too in the office. It's I have in casual conversation, somebody needs to beat him within an inch of his life, where he just gets absolutely pummeled, and he almost is that whole Rocky III mentality. And that's how I explained it to Bill. I was like, it needs to be like that. Somehow you lose your focus and you have, Mr. T type character, come in and just absolutely destroy you. And it needs to be bad and it needs to be bloody. And you need to do this whole lost the eye of the tiger thing. I think that's the only, to me, I thought that would have been awesome to do for a comeback. How do you take somebody from as high as he went, where he's that undefeated streak, up until when Nash beat him, which I don't know. That just didn't make a ton of sense to me.
Yeah. What you're talking about is so I'm from Tennessee and I grew up on Memphis.
Yeah.
What you're talking about is the Jerry Lawler booking himself, where when they bring in a monster, they'd come in and just destroy him.
Yeah.
Just you beat him, lay him out, get juice.
It's just that. I mean, that's as basic as its storytelling gets.
Right. Right.
And that's what I saw with Bill. I was like, they build him up so big. Where do you go from there? Like, where can you go? To me, it's like, man, come in, absolutely crush this guy to which an inch of his life. Have him shoot vignettes with him in the hospital with a neck brace on, bruised up, busted up. All that kind of stuff, IVs, and have somebody like Arn Anderson, because I think Arn at that point had started shifting into like doing the agent type stuff, and he wasn't working anymore, and he was a good mentor to Bill, or have some mentor coming to Bill, and Bill's like, no, I'm done. Like this was like really serious kind of thing, and then Then you go start shooting vignettes of him at University of Georgia running the stadium.
Oh yeah.
Now I'm fast tracking, right?
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, obviously, however they want to write it out, he comes around to it and he's like, now he's back training. And now you're going to start getting fans going, what's going to happen with this? Now, and then you can build somebody else up.
Right. Totally.
While he's gone.
Just a thought. What could have been good is if they bring in Bret Hart like they did and have him out technically wrestle Bill Goldberg, which he could have, and so then Goldberg's got to
like Regal did.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
so somebody could like kind of stretch him and make him see, hey, you're good athletically, but you're not. It would just add a whole new layer to the Bret Hart Bill Goldberg stuff. But
I don't know. You asked Bret that now. I think he would decline.
Oh, I'm sure, but you know what I'm saying. If they just brought
I know.
This is somebody that could stretch him, basically a technical wrestler.
They had to do something. Like I just thought there was something you need to do to knock the monster off the top of the mountain.
Yeah, you're right though. You're right.
In order to keep interest in that character and to give it some more validity. And I think he would have been over more than ever had they done something like that.
They booked their stuff in the corner with it. I mean, like you said, you there's nowhere to go, and they booked him so high. There was only one way to do it. And when it gets to the point, like you said, he's got to fall.
Yeah.
I mean, and just him losing to Nash, it was just like people were like, huh?
No, they needed a killer. They needed somebody to come in and absolutely, because Bill, everybody thought was unstoppable.
Right.
Yeah. That's why
you need somebody that could match his intensity and absolutely just beat him to a pulp within an inch of his life, in my opinion, and have him questioning his career. Like, doctors going, he may have permanent damage from this and that and blah, blah, blah. Now you're building sympathy for him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This was the old school stuff that worked forever. Think about Dusty's broken arm.
Right.
Yeah.
Make it good.
Getting attacked in the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
Dusty had a broken ankle there at one time too. Ankle.
Every promotion did it in the territory days. Their top guy, they would always do it, an injury angle. And like was it in 81 Georgia when they pile drived KWC on the floor?
Yeah.
And they did the things where he was in the hospital with the neck brace. And it's basic.
It's classic. It's basic, but it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, that's what you have to do. And I get the business has changed a lot. And it's not like where you had the territory days where they needed, these guys would come in, heels or baby faces, and work for X amount of, weeks, months, and then they would disappear. It's kind of like that mentality. That's why those guys would they would bring in somebody and they would run that, they'd bring in a champion and run him in that territory for a few weeks and then have him disappear. And he'd go hit other territory. And it was just, they ran that loop the whole time. And it's that the guy's out of sight, out of mind. They're not getting too much of him. So when he comes back in, it's like, we're drawing big money now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, who wants to see Goldberg beat yet another guy? Right. As fascinating as it was, and I like working Bill in terms of just how over he was. He had great pops from the crowd, so it was fun. But it's like he was very limited in what he could do.
Yeah.
And you know what? It is not, and I'm not busting on that because he didn't have to be as good as he looked and the stuff that he did and the believability that he brought. And it's like, just don't go above and beyond what you can and can't do. It's like Nash, everybody talks about Nash having 3 or 4 moves. Nash didn't need any more moves.
Right.
Honestly.
Yeah.
He had his stick. He might not have been the best worker in the world. I think he knows that he wasn't. And I don't think he tried to be.
Right.
He worked with what he had and it was over.
Yeah.
So it's, especially with the NWO stuff.
Definitely.
We'll be right back with more Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
CHW is continuing the legacy of historic professional wrestling in Tennessee with monthly events at the Armory in Ashland City. CHW owner Mike Green has made it his mission to present the best pro wrestling shows in the Nashville area, and he has been delivering the goods. CHW Wrestling combines all the elements that Tennessee wrestling fans have come to expect. Action, suspense, athleticism, reality, stories, surprises, and excitement, all delivered by the finest professional wrestlers this state has to offer. Follow CHW Pro Wrestling on Facebook for the latest news, announcements, and show dates. And subscribe to Championship Productions on YouTube to see past events like the Ashland City Rumble and the Valentine's Massacre. Fun for the whole family with delicious and affordable concessions on site. Witness the action and excitement of CHW in Ashland City at the Armory. Family Wars, Love and Hate, Championship Gold. A CHW event is everything you're looking for in a night of live entertainment.
All right, so in 2000, you started working some dark matches for WWF. How'd you get those bookings?
I had once they saw that Titanic heading for that iceberg, I had reached out to Terry Taylor, who was at WWF at the time, and Terry was a big fan of mine and booked me with a lot of stuff, tried to get me more wins, tried to get me more matches on Thunder and Nitro. Mm-hmm. He was there and WWF, and I had heard through Lodi that via the Hardy Boys that Jim Ross was a big fan of mine, like my work and like my look. And like I said, I had that connection with Bruce. Bruce had told us when we decided to go with WCW, hey, look, go there, learn as much as you can. Honestly, it's going to be the best thing for you. We're in such a bad place right now. It's probably better that you go do that. And when you're ready to come here, whenever you're ready to come here, you'll have a place. Now, again, those are words. And that was 3.5 years later. So you don't know how viable that still is. But Terry told me, yeah, you'll have a spot here. And so that's what led me to WWF. When I finished up with WCW, they flew me back up to Stanford, and I met with Bruce and JR, and we negotiated out a contract. We didn't talk about anything character-wise. I didn't meet with Vince at that time. We just talked numbers, and we worked out a contract, and I flew back home that night. And I didn't hear anything from them for, God, I think I signed with them in October. and I didn't hear anything from them. I think, well, no, I take that back. I did. I flew back up and met with Vince. Met with, actually did an interview with Coach.
Okay.
Just like a personality interview, like what's your favorite ice cream, chocolate, vanilla? Okay. If you're an animal, what animal would you be? That kind of stuff.
Okay.
And then I met with Vince, and he was just like, tell me your life, like background, all this kind of stuff. We still didn't talk about anything in terms of a character at all. I ended up, I flew back home again, and I want to say I signed in October, and then I want to say maybe like November, December, I flew back up there, and that's where I met Vince and did all that. And then I didn't do anything until I had a dart match with them in March.
Okay.
That was the first.
When did you go to MCW Memphis?
After I gotten hurt. Yeah, I had been with them for not quite a year. I've been working dart matches. Now, they had brought me in, like eventually they told me after I started working, it wasn't long after I did like my first dart match in March, they said they wanted to tag me with Val Venus. And that's how they were going to debut me. They want the background on that was I was like his understudy in porn and ran out of that.
Was it the mustache?
And you know why you get run out of the porn business, right? Because you're a bad actor.
I was
they were like, yeah, we want you to tag with Val, and you'll like be his understudy, and we want to like have you show up at like a Raw with a bunch of girls ringside.
Okay.
And tag you, and y'all tag for a while, and then you turn on him, and then we want you to do like individual stuff, singles.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was of course that didn't happen because that character they crushed it because it was just catching too much heat with all the sponsors.
Oh yeah.
Because that's when they put him in Right to Censor.
Right. I remember that.
And so they told me like, well, we'll just have to rethink this. And so I was just doing dart matches, and every now and then they'd come up with some stuff. I remember a couple times we met with Vince at the show, and Vince was like, "Oh, I don't want to use him with that. Let's wait. I got some other things I'm thinking about." And we came up. There's something they talked about wanting to do like a Matrix type character.
Oh, okay.
With me because they wanted to shoot in like a 360-degree camera thing. Like I thought it'd been really cool, like walking out and doing like this. He goes, we've never done it, but like we haven't done anything like this before. And they would do like this 360 as I'm walking out because they would just do the one hard camera of the guy there as you're walking out. And they wanted to set it up to where it would go around 360 degrees on me.
Wow,
that would have been cool.
And like even go to the top, show like from the top angle. And I was going to be this Matrix type character thing, and for whatever reason, I don't know, that fizzled too. So yeah, there was quite a few of those things that just kind of fizzled before I went to Memphis. I dislocated my jaw.
Oh, how'd you do that?
Yeah, I did like that kind of zig when I should have zagged. I was working Joey Legend.
Okay.
And he's a lefty.
Oh.
Yeah. And when you work, it's like, you get that lefty, I was just like not thinking, and I was, kind of positioning myself for that clothesline from the right. And somehow my jaw went right into his shoulder.
Oh,
ouch.
Yeah. So I was out for 6. It ended up being 12 weeks because I had wisdom teeth in my bottom wisdom teeth on the left and right, but I had room for them to come in, and they had been cutting. So my mouth had been sore back there prior to this.
Oh,
and I thought like it was just like I was having extra sore back there because I like I said, after 6-8 weeks, they said, "Hey, we want you to go to Memphis. Plus, we want to put you as a mouthpiece for this gimmick with a triad with Kevin Furtig, who went on to be Mordecai,
right, right,
and one of the headbangers. I think it was Thrasher. Glenn.
Okay. Yep, that's him. Yep.
And we're going to do this thing called the triad, and and then, obviously you need to get back in ring shape and stuff. So I was about to go out, and about literally a day before I was getting ready to leave, I was like, I'm not feeling good. And ended up, my wisdom teeth had gotten infected from the dislocation.
Dang, bro. Oh,
and I had like emergency surgery. So
Wow.
that was my intro into Memphis.
So basically, they sent you to Memphis for basically rehab. So it wasn't developmental because you was already signed. So because I know they sent all the developmental guys down there to developmental contracts. So yours was actually already signed. It was just for rehab, basically, then, right?
Yeah, I had a booking contract with them, and I know that they would send guys down. Like I know, they sent Big Show down there, or he went to OPW, one of them. But his was like Attitude. Because when you go down there, you set the ring up, you break the ring down.
Yeah.
Right.
And everybody does it, regardless of who you are. But I was from what I was told, it was, you need to you're going to be out of shape. You need to get back in shape, and we want you to head up this thing. And, this group with the triad. So I went down there, and I was there for, 3 months. And then every now and then they'd fly me up. They'd fly me and Steve Bradley up to do Raws, and we do dart matches for Monday, Tuesday, and then fly back to Memphis. And then eventually they pulled us out of there, pulled me out. And I went back to just doing dart matches all the time. And then it just seemed like everything they would try to, whatever character they wanted to do, it always seemed like something got in the way. Like, especially after that, when I got brought back from Memphis, a lot of that was now they were looking at buying WCW.
Okay.
Well, those were the rumors before Vince held a meeting and told us that they were buying it. So, yeah, it was just, a bunch of different things in there. I think my timing was just always bad in terms of when they would come up with stuff. Like they had a great thing after WrestleMania. They wanted to put me and Boss Man and Bo Duck and do is almost like the Shield before the Shield. We were going to be Vince's like private security hit squad kind of thing for like, the corporation before the corporation.
Dang, man.
Yeah. Bo Duck at WrestleMania weekend decided to get tore up.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And was going up and down the elevator in the hotel room. And it was those glass elevators.
Oh, I didn't hear that part of it.
Where, the whole entire, because it was a huge like Hilton or something we were staying at, Hyatt or Hilton. And he happened to the elevator stop on the office floor. And I think the story I heard was it was Vince and Linda and Bruce and Jack Lanza and Pat, all the office heavy hitters.
Oh, man.
And so, yeah, the plans were we were supposed to that Monday after WrestleMania do this thing with Boss Man. And because of him, they said, oh, we're going to put it on hold. And I don't know why they just didn't go with the Boss Man and myself and find somebody else or grab somebody else. But they never did. And yeah.
Dang.
Which we never did anything with the triad stuff, which I didn't think they were going to anyways.
Gotcha. Okay.
None of those guys were signed other than Glenn.
Okay.
So in Memphis, you face some notable guys, Lance Cade and Brian Danielson. You got any memories of working either of those guys?
Yeah, I worked Lance a couple matches. Lance was really good. He was green but good. Could listen really well because I was just like, we're just going to go out and call because I didn't like to lay a lot of stuff out.
Gotcha.
I like to just kind of cover a couple things, finish, but I like to just kind of call because it's that old thing. You don't know how the crowd's going to respond.
Yep.
And I think everybody just reacts better to when you're doing it off the cuff.
Right.
It's funner for me, and I enjoy it. And it's how wrestling used to be.
Yep.
It used to be you had heels in one locker room, faces in the other. No one talked.
Right.
Yep.
Until you got in the ring. You knew what the finish was. That was it. And Lance could follow that. Brian Danielson, I think we worked a couple matches. I did not do any singles with him. Did some tag, I think a couple tags, and then I worked Steve Bradley a lot. Which Steve was one of the best workers in the business, dude, that I came across.
Why didn't he get up? What? I didn't understand. Yeah, because I mean, they pushed him in Memphis, and it just seemed like it. I don't know. He just kind of fizzled out. What happened with him?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know. He wasn't on any. It wasn't drugs. It wasn't alcohol. Because I never saw him. He was never messed up. So it was never any of that. They were high on him because they were talking about. I remember because they would bring us up. It got to where they were just bringing us up every Monday and Tuesday before finally I was able to like move back to Atlanta, out of Memphis. And he was still in Memphis, but they were still bringing him up every Monday, Tuesday, and we were working. I mean, my gosh, we were working dart matches every Monday and Tuesday for months, which was awesome because he was a phenomenal worker.
Yeah.
I mean, I never got blown up working with him, and then we got to where it was like we knew each other so well and what we were doing, and see, I love this because he would sit there and he knew, if I'm taking if I'm missing a move or something on him, I'm like, hitting the turnbuckle and I'm supposed to turn in for like a DDT because we'd do that a good bit type thing, or I'd run and like do the shoulder, and he would move out of the way, and I would gut myself on the second turnbuckle and then work my way out to a DDT. He would wait. He never rushed me. He let me sell. And it's like, no matter what bump I was doing, he would wait for me to feed into him, where I worked, a lot of guys would rush you.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, they would hit something on you and then they think, oh, you got to go right into the next move.
Right. Right.
And sometimes we didn't even have this stuff planned out. I just knew, like, I went to shoot him in the corner. He said DDT, and I knew what it was. So I knew he was going to move because I never DDT'd him. And we just had that chemistry. And he would sit there and let me sit there because I loved even simple stuff. Whenever, a lot of times when I'd shoot guys off and I'd take a tackle, or like as I shot them off, I would come out of that headlock, especially if we had been working the head a good bit. I would, like, instead of running right into it, I would like spin around. Like I'm shaking like the cobwebs out, because I didn't want it to be like, because everybody did it where you'd shoot them off and then run right in and take that tackle. And I would shoot them off, and then I would just kind of spin around in the opposite direction, and then I'd go in and take that tackle.
Okay.
And we would do things like that, and it's like our timing was just perfect. And I know they had, and he was just that good like that, and he could work with anybody. And I know they were talking about, Stephanie was talking about putting him in something, and because I know we're in Las Vegas at Raw, and he was saying, oh, they're talking about putting me in with this gimmick, and I was like, that's awesome, man. Like, you're going to get this. And I don't know why it fizzled out. I don't know why anything fizzled out with him, because usually that step in Memphis, when they put the strap on you as a champ there, you were the next guy to come up to the roster. That was kind of how it was laid out.
Yeah,
man. Yeah.
Because they did it with Kurt, because Kurt was, I think, the one right before. Well, I think it was Kurt, and then I think K Quick, Ron Killings had the strap, and then of course he got called up. And then Steve was, I think, the next guy after Ron to hold the title, and he held it for a while. And so you thought, that would kind of be that natural, move, but yeah, it never happened.
Dang. So speaking of fizzled out on this one, I think it was a good thing. So I was doing my research on you, and I read this story. It says Tommy Dreamer says that Vince wanted Sick Boy versus Triple H at WrestleMania. It was basically this horrible angle with Kane and Triple H. They were going to be and this was going to be the caveat to you headlining WrestleMania with Triple H, because you would be avenging your sister, Katie Vick. And there was something about Johnny having to tell Vince that that's great, but he's not with us yet, or it's just a tryout. Have you heard that before? You really dodged a bullet there, man.
Had the match happen, I don't think, obviously I'm going to headline WrestleMania.
Of course, yes. That would have been incredible. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it that way. Yeah, you're exactly.
No. Yeah, no, I wasn't taking it that way. I'm just saying Yeah, I had never heard the Dreamer interview.
Okay.
The only interview I'd ever heard on that Katie Vick was with Bruce Pritchard, and Bruce Pritchard used me as a scapegoat, saying, yeah, we wanted to debut Scott Vick that way, and that was going to be his sister, but he came and had a match, and he looked so bad that we canned it. And I'm going, bullshit, man. Like, you're not going to,
Right.
That's not the story. That's not my story. My story is they hadn't talked to me in almost a year, and I get called out of the blue to come to Nitro or Raw, and that's when I get informed about that character. I had never heard of. The only thing I'd heard, I wasn't watching wrestling a lot during this time. I would check in on it and see, and I obviously I saw the character, and I'm going, why in the hell are they using my last name on this story line with this character?
Yeah.
I'm like, of all the names they can use, it just doesn't make sense. And I'm like, it's just weird. But I didn't think anything about it other than it's just weird or strange.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get that call from Howard Finkel again on a Sunday night, like 8:00. I'm eating dinner with my brother.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, can you come to Toronto? I was in Toronto for Raw. And I hadn't talked to them it had been 10, 11 months.
Jeez.
Okay, and we had some going back and forth type stuff prior to that, because at one time they were going to tag me with Sean O'Hare.
Okay.
Who Johnny Ace just lied to me the entire time, which I think that's what he's known for best.
I'll say, imagine that.
Yeah. That never worked out. So I was like, I got other stuff going on. I got a business I had started. I was just focused on other things. And at that point I thought, okay, I'm giving wrestling, like, I'm done. I'm giving it a big time off. And I just need a break from it all. Just a lot was happening in my life personally. And so, yeah, I got that call and flew up there, and they had me shoot an interview about the KD Vick.
Oh.
And of course, there was a lot of speculation that it was about putting the flock back together, because that had kind of been a rumored thing going, because Ray was there, Kevin was there, Perry was there. And I think Stevie was there at the time. So there was some, I kind of heard from here and there about that. And immediately I, went to Rave when I got there, and he was like, well, what are you doing here? And I'm like, I don't know. They called me because I hadn't seen these guys in a while. When you're off the road, you just don't talk to anybody anymore.
Right.
So I hadn't really talked to anybody. And he immediately, I knew he was going to go find out. And of course that was not it. And so I had no idea why I was there. Until somebody from the office said, hey, we need you to come up in the interview room. And that's where they told me, like, hey, I want you, start thinking in your head. Like, they didn't give me a script or anything. They just, like they do now, they just said, hey, look, we're kind of doing this off like the Kennedys and Chappaquidda, to where there was this, bizarre accident. Nobody knows what really happened.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they told me.
Wow.
And they said, the only thing they told me to do is just say, hey, this is your sister, and that, Kane was her only friend in high school. She befriended him when no one else would, and he was this monster, and he was disfigured, and this, that, and the other. And there was this Chappaquidda type car accident, and he took advantage of her, but did he take advantage of her while she was alive or dead?
Yeah. Man.
That was the only line they instructed me to say.
Man.
So I shot that little promo, and then that's when they told me the only thing at that point that I knew was that they wanted me to a pay-per-view that was coming up. It obviously wasn't a WrestleMania, but there's going to be a match that they wanted me to interfere in a pay-per-view with I think it was going to be Kane and Hunter and somebody. I can't remember. Kane and somebody. I think maybe Kane, but that's all I knew. And I was like, okay, great. And so they brought me to the next couple Raws, and then I was told, yeah, we're ending this storyline. So we're not going to, after this pay-per-view, because the match was already booked and they had been, had been promoting it. They said, we're done with it. And that was, that was my side of it. And so I was stunned. And then it was years and years later, whatever, where I heard the Pritchard interview, and I go, no, that's not accurate, man. And I like Bruce. I like Bruce. We had great interactions, and I just found it. I was like, no, that's not exactly right, man. Like, I need to set the record straight. For a long, long time, I really wanted to come out and say stuff, and I never did because I was just like, you know what, whatever. But it just kind of stuck in my craw where I was like, I can't give it up.
Yeah.
Like at some point, somebody needs to know. No, I'm not. I don't want it to be like, oh, we crushed this because he was out of shape and he didn't do a good match. I mean, Vince, at least to my face, and Shane, who I had a great relationship with, loved the stuff that I did. They loved all the springboard stuff that I could do. They were putting me over roster guys on dart matches. It always seemed like, they were literally just waiting for the right opportunity to put me in the right spot and just didn't want to use me or put me out there to put me out there kind of thing. So yeah, I was like, no, that's not right. So then I saw that Tommy Dreamer, which you referenced earlier, and I go, man, somebody should have told me about WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Well, maybe first of all, back up. Maybe somebody should have told me this is how they want to debut me.
Right.
Because you can bet your ass I would have been in shape.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I hadn't worked in a year. I knew in that match, yeah, it was probably not the best match. I wasn't in shape. I mean, I hadn't even been working out, so I know I didn't look the best. And so there's no disputing that whatsoever. But that's not the main reason that storyline ended. It ended because it was bad. So that's the Katie Vick.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Scott, this has been incredible, brother. This interview has been amazing and has flown by. We have one final question. We always kick it to my brother, the Plastic Sheik. Take it, Sheik.
All right, Scott. So if you look back at your career and you say, this is my favorite match I ever had, what would that be?
The Chris Benoit Monday Night Nitro match.
Okay. Yeah.
Simply because I looked at that as like, this is my opportunity to really make a name. And at the time I thought it was, I looked at this as a pay-per-view match. Chris gave me a lot of stuff in that match. I think I put like an inside the ring back springboard elbow. I think I did a springboard drop kick and a springboard leg drop that I missed. And I think that was a really good match. At least when I got to the back, Eric Bischoff was there. Arn was there. Eric Bischoff told me that night I made my career. And Chris said, I'll work with Scott anytime, anywhere.
Oh, man.
Wow.
So for me, I think that was one, it was a great match. I loved it. I just loved the flow of it. I loved the layout of it. And I think that, and at the time I thought this was going to be one of those vital points in your career.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's always somebody goes, there's that match that springboarded you, no pun intended, into bigger and better things. And I thought that was it. And it wasn't. But that had to be my favorite one.
Man, what a good one, man. Dude, jeez. What are you up to these days, man?
No, I've been doing, I had a personal training company that I had for years in Atlanta and sold that a number of years back. And then I've just been personal training. I've got a little studio in my backyard that I've trained clients out of.
Yeah. Do you still get in the ring at all, or?
I would periodically. Lodi would reach out every now and then, be like, "Hey, brother, you want to tag with me on something?" And I would do that. And I was kind of content with just being at that level.
Yeah.
In terms of how much I'm going to put into it at the time. So, yeah, I would do some conventions every now and then, but not enough, and some matches, and that was pretty much it.
Well, I see you're at WrestleCade coming up soon, right?
Yeah, going to be at WrestleCade at the November 28th.
Man, that's my birthday. Maybe I get to come see you, hopefully.
Yeah, it's not too far.
No, not at all.
That's in Winston there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that'll be cool, man. Well, I hope I can get to make that. But first of all and last of all, thank you so much for coming on, brother. I greatly appreciate it, dude. You told a great story. I mean, these are amazing stories, man. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome, man.
All right, brother. Well, thank you again, and we'll talk to you soon, brother. Thank you.
All right, man.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, man.
All right.
Nice talking to you guys.
Take care, brother.
All right, you too.
All right, that was the one and only Sick Boy Scott Vick. We'll be right back to wrap things up with Sheik and Quinton after these messages on Gimme Back My Pro Wrestling.
Hi, this is Mike Needham, host of the Reckless Abandon podcast with Mike Needham. We invite you to jump on your favorite podcast platform and search for the Reckless Abandon podcast and give us a listen. I'm sometimes joined by a part-time podcaster, part-time co-host, and full-time wife, Tiffany Nicole. We talk wrestling, we talk pop culture, we talk local events, local happenings in West Tennessee, and a ton of other stuff. But be sure to check out the Reckless Abandon podcast. Find us on Facebook. Also, look up the Microgroup Podcasting family on Facebook and see some of our other podcasts we have out there. Until next time, make good choices and always remember, no dollar, no dice.
Relive the glory days of Memphis wrestling with the Retro Wrestling Review USWA podcast. Each week, we go back in time to review USWA Championship Wrestling from the 1990s, episode by episode. Join us for watch-alongs, behind-the-scenes stories, and exclusive interviews with people who were there and lived it. Whether you grew up watching it or you're discovering it for the first time, this podcast is your ringside seat to Memphis wrestling history. It's all a part of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network. Listen now at uswapodcast.com.
Oh, Sheik and Quinton, one more excellent episode today with Sick Boy Scott Vick. What'd y'all think about that one, man?
Such a cool guy. I mean, he had a cool story, athletic background and football and everything like that. And, another one of those guys that kind of started in the big leagues, really, basically. Yeah. And it's cool to hear those stories. You know, a lot of times we hear, people were so long on the indies or anything like that, but he started at a time when he got pretty much right in with WCW. So cool to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Q?
I liked it. I didn't know much. Like I said, I didn't know much about him. I really liked the stuff about the power plant. That was really interesting to me. I really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed that part of it. But it was really interesting. Like I said, I didn't know much about him, so I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too. You know, I've wanted this one for quite a while. Y'all are going to be like listening and saying, Jimmy's being very self-serving these last 5 or 6 episodes, but no, I don't want it to come off like that. I'm glad. I really enjoyed that as well. I've enjoyed him, like I said, since, Nitro was going on and stuff, as far as just watching him wrestle and just the whole flock, man. It just had a feeling about it that I really enjoyed. Like, it just felt like they were in a band and I was in a band, and it was like, Raven's Flock. That's even a good band name, So whenever it comes, when it comes down to it, that's kind of cool. So obviously, though, didn't know fully all of his story. Getting to hear the story behind the Wade Boggs picture and that Katie Vick storyline, man, he really dodged a bullet with that one. I know it would have been like Wrestlemania for him, but man, I don't know. Do you think it could have? I don't know. The storyline was so just horrible from the get-go, right? Like,
I mean, it's pretty bad. I mean, but how could you turn down like wrestling Triple H at WrestleMania though? Even if it involved that terrible storyline, you'd have to be like, okay,
yeah. I mean, is it one of those things that, sometimes wrestling goes so wrong that it almost comes back right again? You know what I'm saying? Like, it goes so one way that it comes, but then sometimes it goes so far off that they clearly catch it and they're like, okay, this end is not going to work, right? They quickly get past it. And WWE does that probably more than anyone, and maybe it's just because they answer to so many more people than the other companies did, but it's a good thing they moved past that storyline for sure. Yep. I think overall, but I'm sorry for Sick Boy that didn't happen, but it takes one sick boy to think up that storyline. So, anyway. But anyway, we thank you, Scott, so much, man. That was really cool for you to come on and tell your story. Guys, one more thing, as always, Portland Wrestling Expo, our buddy Captain's Corner, Saturday, February 21st, Holiday Inn, Portland Airport, 8439 Northeast Columbia Court, Portland, Oregon. You go there, you tell them, give me back my pro wrestling sent you. We really appreciate that. Next week, I usually don't tell them, but I'm going to give them a gift today. Next week is This Month in Wrestling History with Quinton Quarisma, Part 5. Q, you're covering November, right? We're in November. So
yep.
You looking forward to this one? I know I am.
Always.
Good, man.
Yeah, good.
You got some good stuff, you think?
I hope so. I think it is, but you know me. I hope everybody enjoys it.
Yeah, I think we will. We're suckers for this stuff, man. We're pretty in deep now. So we're definitely looking forward to that, Q. Thank you so much, as always, for bringing it like you do, questions and all. Thank you very much. Also, if you want to see what else is coming up in the future, as always, go to @GMBMPW on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and X. Guys, that's all I got for today. Y'all have anything else before we go?
No, sir. I'm good.
What about you, Q?
Go buy a shirt.
That's right. That's right. We got a brand new t-shirt site coming soon. Until then, Pro Wrestling Tees, buy a shirt. Help us out. It's the holidays. Give your friends, give me back my pro wrestling t-shirts. There's really nothing better than to give a little, give me back my pro wrestling under the tree. Right, guys?
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right. That's it for today, y'all. So for the one and only Sick Boy Scott Vick, the Plastic Sheik Jared Street, the Territory Wrestling Guru Quinton Quarisma, and myself, this has been Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling. We'll see y'all next time.
Don't forget.
When the night comes and sleep overtakes me, my dreams are filled with sadness and heartache, brought to me by my own flock. Time and again, I do for you. Time and again, I give for you. Time and again, I hurt for you. And how do you repay me? With scorn and derision. You are the most selfish, self-centered, worthless bunch of ingrates it's ever been my displeasure to have been associated with. Whoa, Riggs, look at you. When you lost half your vision, who took you to the hospital? Who stayed with you? I did. Kidman, when you were living on the streets, who took you in? I did. I gave you a home. Sick Boy, Lodi. What about me? What about Raven?
This guy is slipped the cup.
Horse, you horse, you disgust me most of all. You dared to defy me? You dared to stand up to me? Get out of my sight! Get out of my sight! I don't even want to look at you, Horace. Go! Horace, you will learn the error of your ways. So it is written, and so it shall come to pass.
Shut up!
Now listen.
Shut up!
Raven!
That's not me.
Shut your mouth!
It's Saturn! Oh, yeah! Finally! Someone to put Raven in his place.
Why don't you be quiet long enough for someone else to speak? Shut up!
Yeah. Saturn can speak from personal experience. He was a member of the flock at one time.
I'm not going to sit back and watch you bully these guys anymore. Sick Boy, wake up. You're a tremendous young talent. You have a promising career in front of you. But on your own, not following him.
Exactly.
With a tear in my eye. This is the greatest moment in my life.
We'll see you later.
This has been a James Rock Street production.